All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Mike Zyda, and today's talk is entitled Hubris, from the Metaverse to ChatGPT to TikTok's Time of Tribulation. And let me share the slides so that you can see them. And click all that, on that. And there we go, slides. And put it up on play. All right. Hubris, from the Metaverse to ChatGPT to TikTok's Time of Tribulation. This month's Hubris, the Metaverse is dead. ChatGPT is the bomb diggity, and it's TikTok's Time of Tribulation. With typical tech hubris, the Metaverse has been pronounced dead as an arrested and charged presidential candidate. There seems to be some life, but when the various Metaverse have like 18 players inside of them, people are calling it over, which is not quite true. The Metaverse has been in the forefront of the tech industry for the last decade, when the founding of Oculus, now Meta, got us all thinking that maybe Neil Stephenson's snow crash was finally going to happen. But what really happened was that the hubris was followed by supposed death, and the story was pulled from the news. What really happens after the love is gone is anyone's guess, but in typical tech fashion, there's usually someone out there still working on it that is going to bring back resurgent love when their new tweak on it all surfaces from their quiet garage into the limelight. So let's talk about what happened to the Metaverse. We just had the Oculus DK1 10-year anniversary, and many people online got together to remember the wow of a decade ago. And a decade ago, there was similar hubris around the HTC Vive. And I remember in 2013 getting invited to the coolest of off-GDC demos, a demo that worked for my group, but then failed to work for all the following people in line. It didn't seem like a completed product you could sell in 2013. And that remained true to even later. When we all saw how cool VR headsets were a decade ago, we all wanted to build games and other experiences with them. But what did we find? We went to a whole host of VCs, and none of them wanted to fund the development of content. They all wanted to fund new hardware. The consequence is that when I visited Jiangsu in China in 2018, I met this guy, and his company had to support 75 different headsets. And there was some nice demo software, but we didn't have great games or anything experiential, as no one wanted to fund the as yet not fully proven hardware and support software. Large game companies like Activision Blizzard, Electronic Arts, and others still to this day in 2023 don't want to invest in building a full Call of Duty experience for, say, the Meta Quest 2, when the number of Quest 2 headsets sold is only about 20 million. Activision Blizzard wants to see 100 million headsets sold before they want to invest in the rollout of a large game for that platform. And if we have 75 different headsets, then Mr. Jiangsu is the man to see, and you hope he supports what you have. So we know where the VCs put their money, into the rollout of large numbers of headsets globally, because they understand investing in hardware. VCs just don't have the stomach for investing in content, the software, that makes the purchase of the hardware successful. So we are now all thinking that the Metaverse is dead, but really we might just be in the phase when people go back to the drawing board to plan how they're going to become instant billionaires. So maybe it's not dead, or maybe it's all up to Apple to breathe life back into the Metaverse. So right now it's on the back burner and cooling off, because the back burner gas is off. People are sweeping up the ashes and trying to figure out what to do next. Where did we see this before? Between 95 and March of 2000 was the internet bubble. And during that period, everyone and his brother and sister wanted to become instant billionaires, and they left their steady jobs to build some piece of hardware or software for the internet. I remember I had a PhD student who was about 120 days from finishing his dissertation, who dropped out to go found a networking company, and he did phenomenally. The internet bubble was followed by the dot-com crash, and by October 2002, all the stock gains were lost. So people's attitude around tech changed a lot. They seem to have more from the steady and slow method of making tech progress to the big bang, big crash method. That kind of explains why we all think the metaverse is dead. We spent a lot of money building the hardware, not enough on the software, and now we are in the crash. Things are not dead, but I remember when my son went to UC San Diego as a computer science student, and my wife would explain that to her friends in Carmel, and they would ask why and say, there are no jobs in computer science, thinking the crash was forever. We all know now that crashes are just part of tech life, and people get back to work, retool, and think about how to resurrect success from the crash's ashes. And they do this quietly and in the dark to avoid the close scrutiny of the pundits that want to be first to declare that new tech is dead. I know real smart people that build their startups completely in silence because of this. So ChatGPT is today's bomb diggity. Large language models are today's cat's meow. With ChatGPT, everyone is promising that programmers can easily be replaced, screenwriters are no longer necessary, and students can generate their term papers with just a short specification and without any real work. And professors are saying, let the students use ChatGPT as it's just the latest tool, and besides, their papers will be better. Well, if you are old enough, we saw this in 1973, when college professors told us, you must use the slide rule and not this newfangled thing, the calculator, because the slide rule was forever. I was pretty good with the slide rule, but in 1974, when I started my first applied mechanics and engineering science class at UC San Diego, we were all told, the slide rule is over. You all need to buy a calculator by next week. So ChatGPT is in the hubris phase, and the promise of its prowess are paramountly prodigious. And the serious work being done with ChatGPT is going on in the dark, in the quiet, to avoid the punditry. And everyone who has ever written a budget has wanted to replace programmers with some piece of magical wizardry. Because if you can just wave a wand at it and the software is written without human intervention, then a lot of your budget lines go down. The real issue is then, what happens if you deploy that software and it doesn't quite work as expected? Immediately you will say, you'll want a live programmer to go take a look, and what will the live programmer say? I don't understand what this piece of software does. I need to rewrite it from scratch. Classic programmers. So who will trust this piece of software from ChatGPT other than accountants? So ChatGPT is going to need to come with some kind of software understanding system that tells you what it can and cannot do. And if it can do that, then it could just give you the right thing in the first place. But deploying ChatGPT software into anything critical is maybe a long way away in the after the love is gone phase. Screenwriting can be completely done by ChatGPT. I'm pretty sure of that. Screenwriting is the art of taking some creative idea and turning it into a written exposition that can maybe be turned into a film or a television series. So screenplays have dialogue and short scene descriptions, and the purpose of the screenplay is as a guide to the making of that film or television show. So can ChatGPT do this? Of course. My first experiment with ChatGPT was with a screenplay for The Long Goodbye, written by Leigh Brackett in 1972 and based on a novel by Raymond Chandler. So let's see how that experiment went. So the first thing I wanted to do was just hand the complete screenplay to ChatGPT and let it rip, but I got the too much text message. So that didn't work. I then thought about how ChatGPT crawls across the internet and reads everything it finds, and the screenplay I was using, The Long Goodbye, I found on the internet. So I took page 2 of the screenplay and I gave it to ChatGPT. I figured it probably already read this rest of the screenplay in its crawl. I received the following. This seems like a script from a movie or TV show. Can you provide more context or information about what you would like me to do? So my response was, create a new script for the film. Sure. What genre would you like the script to be in? What is the plot of the story you have in mind? Any specific characters or settings? The more information you can provide, the better I can create a script that meets your needs. So my answer was noir, like Raymond Chandler's The Long Goodbye. Great choice. Here's a script for a noir film in the vein of Raymond Chandler's The Long Goodbye. And it gave me a script. It didn't give me much of a script. It gave me 2 pages of script. And here it is. You know, it starts out, fade in, exterior, Los Angeles, night. The city glows with an orange haze. A lone car drives down the empty street and pulls up outside a dimly lit bar. Interior bar, night. Philip Marlowe, a private detective, sits at the bar. He nurses a glass of whiskey and watches the woman. A woman walks in. She's beautiful and has a troubled look in her face. Woman, are you Philip Marlowe? Marlowe, I am. Woman, I need your help. My husband is missing. Marlowe, when did you last see him? 2 days ago. He was supposed to come home, but he never did. Cut to exterior, abandoned warehouse, day. Marlowe pulls up outside an abandoned warehouse. He gets out of the car and walks inside. Interior, abandoned warehouse, day. Marlowe walks through the warehouse. He hears a noise and pulls out his gun. Marlowe? John Porter, is that you? There's no answer. Marlowe walks further into the warehouse. He sees a figure in the shadows. Marlowe, come out where I can see you. The figure steps into the light. It's a woman, the same blonde from the bar. The woman you shouldn't have. All right. So it's kind of a plausible script, right? It's just 2 pages. Not yet. Can it do a complete screenplay? No. So with a little bit of guided help from me, ChatGPT gave me part of a new screenplay, but it clearly needs some more guidance from me. I didn't give it a plot. I didn't give it any locations or any additional characters. I asked ChatGPT if I could give it an entire screenplay. I wanted to say, generate me a sequel to this film. ChatGPT said I could upload a PDF or I could give it a Dropbox link and got all excited. But neither of those 2 methods actually worked for me, so I move on. We are in the hubris phase of ChatGPT. Clearly, ChatGPT has some capabilities and they're going to grow over time. And this is the hubris phase. And hopefully we can drop into the post-hubris phase so the scientists can get some actual work done. All right, let's move on. TikTok's time of tribulation. Whenever the US Congress and presidential level politicians realize that they are not doing anything of value for the American people, they look for an easy target we can all rally around. Even the US Department of Defense is looking for an easy target they can point at to stop the public from paying attention to such recent failures as the disorganized pullout from Afghanistan. Consequently, it's TikTok's time of tribulation. Now, TikTok is a social media platform where the young post short videos of whatever they want without parental discretion, videos that will live forever in infamy. And the bonus for the politicians in DOD is that ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, is a Chinese company. So what's all the hubbub? For those of us that worked inside the Department of Defense at the end of the Cold War, say 1989, we all know that without the Soviet Union as our mortal Cold War nemesis, that the DoD has been pointing the finger towards China since then, even though China had only about 5 warships in 1989 and manufactured all our computers. So what's all the hubbub? Well, the US government is saying that it's worried China could use its national security laws to access a significant amount of personal information that TikTok, like most social media applications, collects from its US users. So China is going to keep track of all those young people dancing suggestively on TikTok in some large database somewhere. It's easy to make a statement that TikTok has user data that might be shared with the Chinese government. To actually prove it and say why that might be of concern is quite another thing. Additionally, the large user audience of TikTok and the massive amount of data collected makes the prospect of going through all that data to determine meaningful information about the user a daunting task and a very large computational effort. And once we go down that road, we then will have calls for the blocking of other Chinese apps, such as WeChat, that have a more pervasive Chinese government monitoring. Perhaps a trans-global cold data war is the inevitable outcome if we do. So we can go down this road making faux arguments that we are protecting personal privacy. But Scott McNeely said it best in January of 1999. You have zero privacy anyway. Get over it. This proclamation was attributed to Sun Microsystems CEO Scott McNeely, who reportedly told a group of reporters and analysts that this in an interview. And Scott was right, and this applies forward as well. And now we have the tick-tock time of tribulation, and we're all worrying about personal privacy in the metaverse too. So I wanted to start with Scott McNealy's quote, as his comment was made at the height of the internet boom. And the internet boom started about 1994, and by January 99, it was quite clear that personal privacy was really gone, as no one had thought to architect it in from the first posted web page forward. Since we are at the start of building the metaverse, maybe we can build in some support for personal privacy other than unread EULAs. I start out by presenting an illustration of the way I see personal privacy. In this illustration, we have a personal client, upper level, and down below examples of personal clients, phones and tablets, laptop and desktops, local backup drive, cloud service backup, and a network out to the various metaversi. And I colored things in red where the things can be leaks or holes with respect to personal privacy. And one hole is data not encrypted. And if that is the case, someone else will harvest it, and you are out there in the wind on the internet. Another hole is when you start pushing your data from your personal client to anything on the internet. Once you're on the internet, it doesn't matter much if your data is encrypted, because most encryption is crackable if someone really wants to, and governments can. I call that privacy impossibilities. And the bonus is, once you start using data packets in open metaverse standards, it becomes even easier to crack. So I'm sure this is what Scott McNealy had in his mind when he said, you have zero privacy anyway, get over it. Basically, if what you're doing online is worrying you about who might see it, then maybe don't do it online. Okay, very simple. This is a picture I have, and the things that are in red, kind of like potential holes and potential impossibilities. So, you see phone or tablet, it says red line, not encrypted. If your phone is not encrypted, and you haven't put a password on it, or a key code on it, then somebody finds it, they got your stuff, right? Laptop and desktop, if it's not encrypted. I remember getting the memo from USC's ITS people, Information Technology Services people. They said, if you have a Mac, please turn on the encryption of your hard drive, which now I believe is the default when you buy a Mac. Local backup drive. If it's not encrypted, somebody can grab that backup drive and they've got you. If you have a cloud service backup and it's not encrypted, then you're also in trouble. And I think even Dropbox at one point had some problem where for a very short period, they were unencrypted. When you go out to the metaverse from your personal client, you're at Metaverse I and you're going to go to Metaverse J. All of those packets are on the internet. All of those are crackable if someone wants to bother to do so. There are many layers of concern with respect to privacy on the metaverse. Most of those concerns, again, stem from when we have unencrypted data anywhere in the system, or any data that is going out on the internet, encrypted or not. All right, so basically this says you don't have any privacy. When we start integrating sensors into our metaverse devices, say biosensors or eye tracking, we get into the realm of knowing a lot about the individual wearing the sensors. When we start turning that sensor data into human emotion, mental or physical states, then you either trust the system that now knows you intimately, or you disconnect from it and do something else. And we start interacting with others in a network metaverse and passing around our personal state, our emotion, our mental, our physical state, then we are probably really close to the no personal privacy foreseen by McNealy. When we start passing that human state information to AI characters that are going to interact with us on the basis of our personal state, then the cat is out of the bag. At that point, you do not know what the system will do with your state, especially if there is a government regulation that requires such state streams be recorded for posterity. For a clear understanding of what I'm talking about, I suggest reading my previous column entitled Building a Human Intelligent Metaverse. Wrap up. If the US Department of Defense was seriously interested in issues of national defense, it wouldn't bother with TikTok. It would take Discord offline for its hosting of stolen classified documents for months. Discord has been totally left alone, and there are no congressional committees or DoD personnel trying to shut it down. Perhaps the most the potential for riches from starting a new Cold War with China are too enticing. Or perhaps our congressmen are more interested in meeting some of the most popular TikTok influencers and dancers. There are some references and acknowledgements. I want to thank the staff of Rebellion Research, especially Alexander Fleiss, for their article on TikTok and arguments for its banning. And I hope you all have a great day and go use TikTok and watch it before it's gone. If you have any questions, there's my email, there's my website. If you're on WeChat and you're Chinese, scan the QR code and add me. You all have a great day. Stop sharing. Thank you for listening to my talk based on my paper. The paper will come out, I believe, in July. It's a long time from now. Everyone will have forgotten about what TikTok is because by then it could be offline, it could be gone, it could have a new name, it could be owned by Elon Musk. All right. Have a wonderful day and a great life. And this is Mike Zyda and the Games Column from IEEE Computer. Have a great day. Bye-bye.